Well, top of the morning.
Happy Wednesday,
I did that twice. I did that yesterday too. Top of the morning.
And then I always say like happy whatever day it is.
Yeah,
maybe that's just our intro now.
This is some classic French we're teaching you here.
Your ton tuna ton knowing ton uncle ton ton. Your uncle knows your tuna. Ton 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 ton.
Ton, 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 ton. You know what, Philip? I think
we talked about space yesterday.
Yeah, we need to focus less on the final frontier and more on why the oceans in Florida
are at hot
tub temperatures. Yeah. And all their governor can talk about is trans people.
Yeah.
This article by the BBC says seawater temperatures in Florida at hot tub levels. Seawater along the tip of Florida has exceeded hot tub temperatures of 37.8 degrees Celsius, which is 100 degrees Fahrenheit in recent days, making it potentially the hottest ever measured.
Like, it's gonna kill and boil all the fish.
The warming waters obviously are threatening the marine life in the local coral reef ecosystems. Bleaching is when coral expels algae, losing their vibrant color and weaken as water temperatures exceed roughly 35 C. Such events can lead to death.
Yeah. That's way too hot.
The corals are pale. It looks like the color's draining out, said Katie Lesneski, a research and monitoring coordinator with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And some individuals are stark white, and we still have more yet to come.
This is quite sad. I'm reminded of an interview between Chuck Klosterman and Val Kilmer, and it's such a good interview. And so Chuck Klosterman, he's like a pop culture journalist, and he goes and he interviews Val Kilmer, and Val Kilmer is he's a method actor.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And Chuck Klosterman like tells Val Kilmer like, I think that you're advanced. And Val Kilmer just like takes this so to heart. Like he's just like so like thankful that Chuck Klosterman would describe him in this way. And so when he's like talking about method acting, Val Kilmer, he talks about how he as a method actor knows what it's like to be these roles better than the person who actually experienced it in real life. So like in one of his movies, he was a fighter pilot. And so he's arguing it throughout this interview that he knows what it's like to be a fighter pilot better than the actual fighter pilot because he had to learn to embody how to be a fighter pilot. And so with this logic, Chuck Klosterman then asks him like, well, okay, so if somebody were to make a movie about Val Kilmer and star as you, would they then know what it's like to be Val Kilmer better than you being Val Kilmer?
Right.
And he's like, oh yeah, like, yeah. And he basically he agrees at a certain point.
Method acting, like it's Morbin time, where Jared Leto is like getting so much into the Joker that he's sending people like dead animals and condoms and stuff like that. Krissy showed me this several years ago. So this is Sir Ian McKellen explaining how acting works on Ricky Gervais' show Extra. You know, regardless of how some people feel about Ricky Gervais, this is about Ian McKellen. Or McKellen, sorry. Oh, sorry, it's muted. One day.
One day.
How do I act so well? What I do is I pretend to be the person I'm portraying in the film or play.
Yeah.
You're confused.
No,
It's perfectly simple. Case in point, Lord of the Rings. Little Peter Jackson comes from New Zealand, says to me, Sir Ian, I want you to be Gandalf the wizard. And I say to him, you are aware that I am not really a wizard. And he said, yes, I am aware of that. What I want you to do is to use your acting skills to portray the wizard for the duration of the film. So I said, okay. And then I said to myself, how will I do that? And this is what I did.
On the day.
I imagined what it would be like to be a wizard. And then I pretended and acted in that way on the day. Yeah. And how did I know what to say? The words were written down for me in a script. How did I know where to stand? People told me. If we were to draw a graph of my process, of my method, it would be something like this. Sir Ian, action. Wizard, you shall not pass! Cut! Sir Ian.
Honestly, that pops in my head every single time. Every time they're like, oh, he was in character for 6.5 years to embody this tennis player or whatever. This is what I think of.
Sir Ian, action. Wizard, you shall not pass! Cut! Sir Ian. Okay, you see? Yeah. So now you would be pretending to be John in this play. And how would you know what to say? Well, the words would be in the script. Yeah. And you would learn the words. You would not have the script on the night. And that goes for everybody. There will be no scripts on the night. You learn the words.
Yeah. No, I
speak them as if you were saying them for the first time.
I didn't think we would have the script.
No, but you won't.
No.
Because if you did have the script, it would break the illusion, and the whole thing is illusion. You see, you are not really John.
No, I know.
You are pretending, and that is acting.
So
I feel that pretty much sums it up. I am, by and large, really opposed to fruit and chocolates together, but on a very, very rare occasion, maybe once every 5 years, I do enjoy a cherry blossom.
It honestly...
They're gross.
Oh,
They're so
I can't
gross.
believe you just said it. The problem with them is I thought they were always like in the store and they were old
No,
because
this is
the
how they are.
package looks so old.
They're so gross. But you eat one and you're like, oh, right, this is why I don't really like it. But then, like, at once every 5 years, like I said, you forget and you buy another one and you're like, oh, right.
The package, it always to me, I was like, well, this has probably been here for several years. I don't know how your video games say, hey, this game's not for kids. This game is M-rated, mature themes. Might have a PlayStation 1 Lara Croft triangular booby or something. They have actually pitched a change to that. And it would be a privacy-protected facial age recognition. So, in order to play a game, it would scan your face and estimate your age to determine if you are of maturity to play this game. And the tech, as this part of the article says, the tech is exactly as insane sounding as you think it is. This is through a digital ID firm called Yoti and an Epic Games subsidiary, Super Awesome. And it has people take a photo of themselves. The system checks if it's a live face in frame. Then the photo goes to a server where AI tech deduces how old the person is and if they can give consent for the purchase for the minor. It is not IDing a specific person as facial recognition, only estimating their age so they have so permissions can be given.
I don't like it.
So these companies are suggesting taking a picture of children, right? That's an anteater, isn't it? That's its defense mechanism? What up? What up? Come at me. What up? What up? Come at me, bro. Penguin swims 8,000 kilometers every year to see the man who saved his life. Well, if that isn't a feel-good story, I don't know what is.
I love that.
So it's illegal to keep wild animals as pets in Brazil, apparently. But despite that law, Dindim comes to live with his best friend, who he met on the beaches of Brazil ever since 2011. A 71-year-old retired bricklayer and part-time fisherman, Jay Yao?
Oh, no.
João Pereira de Souza.
You hear you read that? That wasn't
That was
the,
pretty close.
that wasn't the typical person that reads
João Pereira de Souza.
João Pereira de Souza found Dindim, a South American
Megallanic?
Megallanic penguin covered in oil and close to death when D'Souza nursed him back to health. However, he found that Dindim didn't want to leave. When he finally did, D'Souza was surprised to see him return next year and the years following. I love the penguin, like it's my own child, and I believe the penguin loves me. No one else is allowed to touch him. He pecks if they do. He lays on my lap and lets me give him showers, allows me to feed him sardines and pick him up. Everyone said he wouldn't return, but he's been coming back to visit me for the past 4 years. Oh, this would be... Could you imagine seeing an old man kissing a penguin on the beach? It would be so crazy. He stayed with me for 11 months and then he disappeared.
I do love birds. Birds are so great.
Hello. I honestly wish that, like, I don't want to go to space. I want to know what goes on in animals' minds and what they say and what they think. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't that be top priority? When he sees him, he wags his tail like a dog and honks with delight. No one else is allowed to touch him. Oh, here we go, a little video.
Gotta go.
On the coast of southeast Brazil, a penguin has made himself at home with an unlikely companion. For the last 4 years, this Magellanic penguin has been hanging out with a retired bricklayer named João Pereira de Souza. The penguin, nicknamed Jinjee, disappears into the ocean for as much as 4 months at a time. But when he comes back, it's always to De Souza's shanty by the sea. De Souza found Jinjee in 2011, soaked in oil and lying on the beach in front of his house. He fed the bird some sardines and gave it a shady spot to rest, and he hasn't been able to get rid of Jinjee since. Magellanic penguins are known for migrating thousands of miles a year between breeding colonies in Patagonia and feeding grounds further north. Despite their reputation as cold-water animals, the birds have been known to turn up in the warm waters of Brazil, where a northbound current occasionally drops them off on tropical beaches like this one in Rio de Janeiro state. But local fishermen have never seen anything like this.
The funniest thing is that the penguin might stay here for a week, then it walks down to the beach and leaves. It spends 10, 12, 15 days, and then comes back to the same house. They're supposed to join together, find some path to the south, but he doesn't.
Hey Coyote, good to see ya.
Jinjee regularly goes to sea for days, weeks, or months at a time, only to waddle his way back to Mr. De Souza's home. He usually spends about 8 months...
He's like Carl! He's Carl the penguin. Coyote, this penguin just comes back to this man saved his life, and he comes back every so often to visit him, and he's the only one he likes. Yeah, he's the stray cat Carl.
We don't know
penguins.
if Carl likes us, though. We can't touch or kiss Carl. This man can kiss this penguin.
That's true. I guess we just have to wait to try and save Carl.
A year here, and the bond between the two has become pretty strong. D'Souza says Jinjee won't allow other animals to get anywhere close to him.
Jinjee.
That's so cute.
Love it. Thank you, Silly Hat Man. Thank you guys for bringing in these happy things. Apparently Google News only likes to show me depressing things. Speaking of a sleepy pinch.
That's one fucking nice kitty right there.
Jinjee.
Jinjee. Sleepy Pincho.
What doing?
Jason, I hope you're here to see this.
What doing over there? Jinjee, what are you doing?
He's a Sleepy Pincho.
Why are you sleepy pincho? He's got his tail. Why are you wiggling your tail? Oh.
Clean those mats.
We can't. He won't let us. He sleeps on them
Well,
18
when he's
hours a
not
day.
sleeping
And we
on
gotta
them.
take the
Thanks.
we gotta take he crafted a nest.
He did truly craft his own nest in there.